I never thought my wedding day would smell like charcoal and regret, but there I was, vows half-spoken under a sagging pergola, when my phone buzzed with the final nail in the coffin. Enjoy your little barbecue, Emery. Real weddings have cathedrals. That text from my mother hit harder than the cheap whiskey we'd passed around to keep the chill off. But the real gut punch? I knew she'd show up eventually, just not as herself. Because by midnight, after the last guest stumbled home and my new wife collapsed into exhausted sleep beside me, I'd slip into the basement lab I'd built in secret, fire up the neural exchanger, and trade places with the woman who'd birthed me but never once chosen me. Soul for soul, life for life. Payback's a hell of a honeymoon gift. The morning of the wedding dawned sticky and humid, the kind of Midwestern summer that clings to your skin like a bad memory. We'd chosen our backyard in that crumbling split level in Dayton, Ohio, because it was ours, paid for with my sweat equity from 12-hour shifts at the auto plant, not some trust fund fairy tale. Sarah, my fiancée, had laughed when I proposed under the old oak tree out back, her red hair catching the sunlight like she'd swallowed a sunset. No frills, Em, she'd said, punching my arm. Just us, some ribs on the grill, and a playlist that doesn't suck. That was Sarah, practical as a craftsman toolbox, fierce as the steel I welded every damn day. I'd invited 50 people, co-workers from the line, a couple neighbors who'd waved at us for years, Sarah's rowdy clan from Cleveland who'd drive down with coolers of craft beer. My side, barely a roster. Aunt Rita, who'd send a Hallmark card every Christmas with a 20 tucked inside like pity money. And my parents. God, my parents. Richard and Evelyn Hayes, the power couple of Cincinnati's old money circuit. Dad with his corner office at the bank. Mom chairing galas for causes she didn't give two shits about. They'd built an empire on handshakes and hushed deals. But for their firstborn son, me, I was the afterthought, the oops baby who didn't fit the mold. The betrayal had started small, the way rust creeps into a fender. I was 18, fresh out of high school, when my brother Theo, 3 years older, golden boy with a jawline like a Kennedy, crashed Dad's Cadillac into a guardrail off I-75. Drunk, of course, but it wasn't just a fender bender. He'd been joyriding with a girl from the wrong side of town, the kind whose family sued if you looked at them funny. Cops called it vehicular manslaughter when she didn't make it. Theo walked because Dad's lawyers spun it as an accident, but the blood money? That fell on me. Take the fall, Emery, Dad had said in the den that smelled of scotch and cigar ash, his tie loosened like a noose. Community service, a slap on the wrist. Theo's got Yale in the fall. Our name can't take the hit. Mom nodded, her pearls clicking like rosary beads, eyes glassy from whatever pill she'd popped to smooth the edges. I was the expendable one, the welder's kid who'd never amount to more than grease under his nails. So I did it. Signed the plea, spent 6 months in county lockup pretending it was my foot on the pedal. Theo got his degree in finance, climbed the ladder at Dad's bank, married a debutante who birthed perfect heirs. Me? I got a record that killed any shot at white-collar work, and a family that treated me like a stain they couldn't bleach out. That secret festered, a hidden abscess under the skin of our holidays. Polite nods at Thanksgiving, Mom's passive-aggressive jabs about my blue-collar romance with Sarah. She's lovely, dear, but does she know what forks to use? Theo, ever the operator, would clap me on the back, whisper, "You're the real hero, bro," while siphoning Dad's mentorship like it was his birthright. Power coursed through them like electricity, Dad's boardroom clout, Mom's social web that could blacklist you from the country club with a single phone call. They were untouchable, a fortress of WASP privilege in a world that bent to their will. So when Sarah and I set the date, July 15th, a Saturday that promised blue skies, I knew inviting them was a Hail Mary. They'll come, I told her, lying through my teeth as we strung fairy lights from the fence. It's family. She squeezed my hand, her calluses matching mine from her gig as a nurse. If they don't, we've got brisket and bad country covers. That's enough. The ceremony kicked off at 4, Reverend Hayes, no relation, thank God, mumbling through vows while the grill master flipped patties. Laughter bubbled up as Uncle Mike from Sarah's side led a conga line around the kiddie pool. But as the sun dipped, casting gold over the zinnias I'd planted myself, the empty seats gnawed at me. No silver Mercedes in the drive, no Evelyn in her Chanel suit cooing over the cake. Then the text. From Mom, timestamped 3:47 p.m. Darling, we've reconsidered. A backyard cookout isn't a proper wedding. Theo's in town, family dinner instead. Love, M. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over reply, rage boiling like the sauce on the stove. Sarah sidled up, her veil a gauzy afterthought. There no-shows. Her voice was steel-wrapped in silk. I nodded, shoving the phone in my pocket. Screw M. Let's eat. We danced to Johnny Cash on a boombox, her head on my shoulder, whispering promises of a life we'd build without their shadows. But inside, the plan I'd buried for years clawed its way up. The neural exchanger. My white whale. It started in lockup, those endless nights in a 6x8 cell, poring over contraband library books on quantum entanglement and neural mapping. A cellmate, ex-MIT dropout named Jax, sketched blueprints on napkins. Bodies are just meat suits, M. Swap the signals, and you're golden. Released, I scavenged parts, black market chips from Shenzhen via eBay, a salvaged MRI coil from a junked hospital van. Nights blurred into a basement glow, soldering irons hissing like vipers, code compiling in the hum of cooling fans. It wasn't magic, it was science, raw and rogue. A prototype that could decouple consciousness from flesh, shunted across synaptic bridges. I'd tested it on rats, fuzzy little swaps that left them dazed but whole. Humans? Risky as hell. But for them, worth every fried circuit. By 10 p.m., guests gone, Sarah snoring softly in our bed, I descended the stairs, the air thick with ozone and solder flux. The machine squatted in the corner like a madman's altar, coils of copper wire pulsing blue, a helmet rig dangling like a crown of thorns. I strapped in, heart hammering, and keyed the sequence. Target, Mom. I'd hacked her phone months ago, synced her neural signature from a gift smartwatch I'd sent for her birthday. For your runs, Mother, I'd lied. The chamber word, a low thrum building to a scream. Pain lanced through my skull, fireworks behind my eyes, bones dissolving into static. Then nothing. Blackness absolute. I woke gasping, but not in my body. Silk sheets, lavender lotion on skin that wasn't mine. A vanity mirror framed a face I knew from oil paintings. Evelyn Hayes, 58 going on 40, Botox smooth and horrified. My hands, her hands, trembled as I touched the pearls at my throat. Holy shit, I whispered, voice a melodic lilt I'd always mocked. Upstairs in Dayton, my old form stirred, Mom's essence trapped in the welder's frame, probably screaming into a pillow that smelled of machine oil. Phase 1, infiltration. I dressed in her walk-in closet, tailored blouse, pencil skirt that pinched like judgment, and drove her Beamer to the airport. Theo's jet landed at dawn, fresh from a deal in Dubai. Family dinner, indeed. But this time, I'd be the one serving the truth, seasoned with a vengeance that burned hotter than any grill. The drive to Cincinnati blurred, radio droning NPR about stock dips and climate summits, worlds away from my old life. Mom's memories flickered at the edges, unbidden. Her first gala, Theo's baptism, the day she chose to forget my arrest. I shoved them down, focusing on the script. Pull up to the house on Indian Hill, that McMansion with its columns like false teeth. Dad in his study, scotch in hand. Theo, smirking over surf and turf. And me, Evelyn, unleashing the storm. I parked in the circular drive, gravel crunching under tires that cost more than my truck. The door swung open before I knocked. The maid, Maria, bobbed a curtsy. Mrs. Hayes, you're early. Early? I'd timed it to catch them off guard. Family waits for no one, I said, channeling her ice queen tone. Inside, the foyer gleamed, marble floors, crystal chandelier dripping light like liquid money. Dad emerged from the den, Ty askew, pecking my cheek. Evelyn, darling. Rough flight. His eyes, sharp as a lone shark's, scanned me. Did he sense the glitch? Dreadful, I replied, forcing a smile that felt like cracking porcelain. But Theo's worth it. We migrated to the dining room, mahogany table set for 3, intimate betrayal. Theo breezed in 10 minutes later, tanned and tailored, wife beater under his blazer screaming casual wealth. Mom, missed you in the air. He hugged me, cologne clouding the air, aqua d whatever, the scent of entitlement. I stiffened, fighting the urge to knee him where it hurt. Dinner unfolded like a minefield. Dad carved the roast, monologuing about quarterly reports. Theo name-dropped clients, Senators, CEOs, the puppet strings he pulled from Dad's shadow. And me? Nodding, sipping Merlot that tasted like regret. Then the lull. I set down my fork, the clink echoing. Emery's wedding, I said, voice steady. You skipped it. Dad's brow furrowed. Evelyn, we've been over this. A backyard hoedown? It's not. Proper. I cut in, heat rising. Theo chuckled, low and dismissive. Come on, Mom. Bro's got his thing. We have standards. Standards. The word detonated something primal. Standards like letting your brother rot for your kill? The room froze. Dad's glass halted midair. Theo's fork clattered. What the hell, Evelyn? I leaned forward, her pearls cold against her chest. I know everything. The girl on I-75. The plea deal. Emery's 6 months in hell so Theo could play Ivy League. Dad's face drained to ash. You're drunk. But his eyes darted. Guilt. The old fox cornered. Theo recovered faster, sneering. Ancient history. What's your point? My point, I hissed, is payback. You built this on his back. Now watch it crumble. I slid a USB drive across the table. Years of hacked emails, bank records, the paper trail I'd pieced together in my basement exile. Press play, Richard. See your empire's foundation. The laptop whirred to life, projecting onto the wall. Wire transfers to the girl's family, laundered through offshore shells. Bribes to the DA? Theo's mugshot, blurred but damning. Dad lunged for it, but I was faster. Evelyn's manicured nails digging into his wrist. Too late. Theo bolted up, chair scraping. You're bluffing. Emery's a nobody. Nobody. I laughed, a sound like shattering glass. He's the one who just became you. The confession hung, toxic. Their faces twisted, confusion, then dawning horror. But I wasn't done. The exchanger had a failsafe, a 24-hour lock. Mom, in my body, waking to my world. And me? I'd dismantle theirs brick by brick. That night, as sirens wailed in the distance, my anonymous tip to the feds, I slipped away, Evelyn's heels clicking on pavement. The swap held, a fragile tether. But the real war? Just beginning. Theo's power plays, Dad's desperate calls. And somewhere in Dayton, my wife stirring to a stranger in my skin. God help us all. Dawn broke over Cincinnati like a hangover, gray and unforgiving. I hunkered in a boutique hotel off the riverfront. Mom's credit card footing the bill, irony thick as the complimentary robe. Staring at my reflection, her reflection, in the bathroom mirror, I traced the lines that Botox hadn't erased. 58 years of privilege etched subtle. Crow's feet from squinting at social ladders. Lips thinned by perpetual disapproval. Who are you now, Em? I muttered, voice a stranger's soprano. The neural exchanger hummed in my mind's periphery, a phantom buzz reminding me this wasn't a dream. It was possession, pure and profane. Back in Dayton, Mom must have come to screaming. My body, compact, scarred from arc flashes and bar fights, waking in a bed that sagged under factory weight. Sarah, bless her, probably thought it was a bender. You okay? She'd ask, mistaking Evelyn's wide-eyed panic for my usual post-shift haze. The thought twisted my gut. Sarah deserved better than this circus, but she'd signed up for the welder's grit, not this soul-swap sideshow. I'd explain later, after the dust settled, if it ever did. My phone, Mom's phone, lit up with voicemails. Dad gravel-voiced. Evelyn, what the fuck was that dinner? Get home. Now. Theo, smoother. Mom, we need to talk. That USB, it's bullshit. Meet me at the club. Then, a text from an unknown number. This isn't you. Fight it. My blood iced. How? The signature was locked. Only I knew the quantum key. Unless. No. Focus. I needed intel. Slipping into Evelyn's Rolodex life was easier than expected. Her social armor parted like the Red Sea for Mrs. Hayes. First stop, the bank. Dad's domain. A glass tower on Fountain Square that screamed money. I strode in, Chanel bag swinging, flashing a smile that parted security like butter. Tell Richard his wife's here. Urgent. His assistant, a mousy thing named Claire, ushered me to the executive floor, all hushed carpets and abstract art that cost more than my house. Dad waited in his office, a corner perch with views of the Ohio River churning brown. He looked wrecked, ties crooked, eyes bloodshot. Evelyn, sit. Explain. I perched on the leather chair opposite, crossing legs that felt alien. Explain? Like you explained the cover-up to a scared kid. His jaw clenched. That was 20 years ago. Theo's a success because of it. You agreed. I agreed. Evelyn's laugh bubbled up, bitter. Emery's life for your legacy. Noble. He slammed a fist on the desk, pens rattling. He's a thug, Evelyn. Welding bolts while Theo closes millions. Blood's thicker, but merit matters. Merit. The word from a man who'd bought his way to the top. I leaned in, voice dropping. Merit like falsifying records? I have more. The girl's diary. Entries about Theo's stalking, the threats. Sent to the prosecutor's office this morning. Bluff, mostly. I digitized scraps from old news clippings, but the fear in his eyes? Real. You're not yourself, he whispered, circling the desk. Close now, cologne cloying. What did he do to you? Him. Me. The pronoun tangle snapped something. I stood, Evelyn's 5'7" suddenly towering in heels. Emery didn't do shit. You did. All of you. His hand shot out. Instinct, paternal fury, grazing my arm. I recoiled, the touch electric with revulsion. Father, striking the vessel of his wife. Controversial? Hell, it was Shakespearean. I fled the tower, pulse racing, hailing a cab to the country club. Theo's lair, where deals were sealed over 18 holes and backroom whiskeys. The valets knew Evelyn's Beamer. I was waved through to the veranda, overlooking greens manicured like lies. Theo lounged by the infinity pool, phone glued to his ear, barking at underlings. Double the offer, or heads roll. Power, unadorned. He spotted me, waved off the call. Mom. Sit. You look like hell. Charming. I sank into a wicker chair, ordering a gin and tonic. Evelyn's poison, to steady nerves. The USB. It's live. Feds have it. His smile didn't reach his eyes, a shark's gleam. Cute. But leaks like that? Traceable. To you. Me? Evelyn. He leaned forward, voice silk over steel. Or should I say, to Emery? I know about the gadget, bro basement tinkering. Sent a PI after your invention months ago. The world tilted. Betrayal layered on betrayal. Theo, sniffing my shadows, weaponizing my obsession. You hacked me. I choked, gin burning. He shrugged, swirling his scotch. Family protects family. Dad's worried about your instability. The arrest, the tech porn. One call to the EPA, your lab's a hazmat zone. Instability. The word from the brother I'd shielded, now twisting the knife. You owe me, Theo. That night on 75, I covered your ass. His laugh was a bark. Covered? You lapped it up, little brother. Daddy's guilt money bought your truck, your girl. Don't play martyr. Martyr. The accusation landed like a sucker punch. Had I? Scraped by on their scraps, building a life from resentment's forge. But Sarah, real, raw, was mine, not their coin. This ends, I said, standing. Resign. Both of you. Or the truth goes viral. Theo's eyes narrowed, calculating. And if I don't? What? You stay in mom's skin forever. Creepy M. Real Oedipal. The word hung, controversial venom, incestuous undertones in a body not my own. I wanted to smash his face, feel bone give under knuckles that weren't mine. Instead, I walked away, heels sinking into turf, plotting the next move. Back at the hotel, I synced the exchanger remotely, a pulse to extend the lock, buying hours. But mom's memories intruded stronger now. Flashes of postpartum blues after Theo, the gin breakfasts after my trouble. Loneliness in a mansion of mirrors. Pity flickered, unwanted. No, they chose this path. I called Sarah, voice cracking into Evelyn's timbre. Babe, it's me. Emery. Don't freak. Silence, then her whisper. What the? Your mom called earlier, hysterical. Said something about a swap. Hysterical. Mom, unraveling in my skin. Trust me. Coming home soon. Love you. Click. The line dead, trust frayed. Night fell, city lights mocking from the window. Theo's threat loomed. EPA raid, lab torched. I needed leverage, the nuclear option. Deep web dives on mom's laptop yielded gold. Dad's slush fund. Theo's offshore mistress with a taste for blackmail. Emails, explicit. Controversial decisions brewed. Leak them? Ruin innocence? The girl from 75 had a sister, still in Cincy, scraping by on waitressing. Justice or vengeance? The line blurred in borrowed flesh. By midnight, sirens again, not feds, but local PD at the Hayes estate. Mom, in my body, had cracked, babbling to cops about body thieves, demanding they fix it. Dad's spin, my wife's delusional. Medication mix-up. But the USB had teeth. Leaks hit the local news by 2 a.m. Bank exec son in old scandal probe. Theo texted, "You bitch. Game on." I smiled, Evelyn's lips curving cruel. Game. I'd invented the board. Sleep evaded, body aching with foreign rhythms. Perimenopause twinges, a bladder that nagged. Dawn brought the twist's first whisper. A voicemail from Jax, my cellmate ghost. It's unraveling. The exchanger, it's bidirectional. Memories bleed. Fight it, or you're lost. Lost. In her skin, her sins. The betrayal deepened, not just theirs, but the machine's, a Frankenstein of my making, devouring the man I was. I dressed for war, Evelyn's armor. Power suit, heels like stilettos. Confrontation at the estate. Pull up, face the fractured family. Mom in my frame, wall-eyed. Dad, barricaded. Theo, scheming. And me, the imposter bridegroom, ready to unmake them all. But as the beamer purred south, doubt crept. What if the swap revealed more than revenge? What if the crime I'd shouldered wasn't Theo's alone? The Hayes estate loomed like a guilty conscience, Tudor sprawl gated against the world it exploited. I buzzed the intercom, Evelyn's voice tinny. "Let me in, Harold." "It's me." The guard, old Harold, who'd tipped his cap to me once as young master, hesitated, then clicked open. Tires crunched up the drive, past topiaries clipped to perfection, to the portico where Dad paced, phone to ear. He hung up as I emerged, face a thundercloud. Evelyn. Inside. Now. The foyer felt cavernous, echoing with unspoken accusations. Mom. In my body, jeans sagging on unfamiliar hips. Huddled on the staircase, knees drawn up like a scared kid. Her eyes, my eyes, locked on mine. Terror, recognition, rage. "You," she hissed, voice my gravel tenor. "What have you done?" I ignored her, brushing past to the living room where Theo sprawled on the sectional, laptop open, fingers flying. "Damage control," he muttered without looking up. "Feds are circling, but I've got spin." Family tableau, fractured, flammable. Dad poured scotches, handing one to each, me included, the gesture absurd. "Talk." "All of it." I sipped, the burn grounding. From the beginning. The crash. Emery confessing to save your golden boy. Mom whimpered from the stairs. "We had to." The scandal. Scandal. Evelyn's laugh tore from my throat. "You mean reputation?" Mine was trash anyway. High school dropout, shop class hero. Dad slammed his glass down. "You were complicit, Evelyn. Pushed for it." She flinched, my broad shoulders hunching. I was weak. Pills, the loneliness. Theo was our future. Future. Built on my cage. Theo closed his laptop, leaning forward, elbows on knees. My knees, in another life. "Enough history. What's the ask, Mom?" Or money? A board seat? Name it. Arrogance, pure. I set the glass down, deliberate. Ruin. Resignations. Public mea culpa. The truth, unvarnished. His smirk faded. Or the full archive drops. Mistress picks, slush funds, the works. Your wife's trust? Shattered. Your kids? Fatherless. The room detonated. Mom lunged from the stairs, my fists, her fists now, clenched. "Monster, give me back my life." She swung wild, connecting with Dad's arm. He shoved her back, bellowing. "Control yourself." Chaos. Theo grabbing her, me. Evelyn, dodging shards of a toppled vase. Controversial? A family imploding in violence. Roles reversed. Son and mother's skin restraining wife and sons. It was farce and tragedy. The American dream curdled to nightmare. We broke apart panting, the air thick with recriminations. Dad, red-faced, "This ends now. Call off the leak." I shook my head. "Not without the press conference. Tomorrow. Noon. Fountain Square." Theo snorted. "Delusional. Cops are en route. Your anonymous tip traced to Mom's IP." "Traced?" My hack, flawless. Unless. Jax's warning echoed. Bleed. Memories seeping. Had Evelyn's digital footprint overlapped mine in the swap? Panic flickered. Sirens wailed distant, closing. Mom collapsed against the banister, sobbing in my baritone. "Please, Emery. I can't. This body. It hurts. The scars, the ache. Scars. My arc burns, prison tats faded. Empathy clawed unbidden, her frailty in my fortress frame. "You made me this way," I whispered. Took the fall, lost the softness. Now feel it. Cruel? Undeniably. The decision to prolong her torment. Dark, debated. Was I avenger or abuser? Cops arrived in force. Dad's call, no doubt, flooding the drive with cruisers. Mrs. Hayes reports a home invasion. The lead barked, cuffing my wrists, her wrists, before I could blink. Theo's testimony sealed it. She's not right. Ranting about body swaps. Irony bit deep as they hauled me to the squad car, Evelyn's pearls snagging on the door. Mom watched from the steps, my face a mask of conflicted glee. Fix this, I mouthed. She nodded, tears streaking grease paint. The precinct was a blur, holding cells smelling of bleach and despair. Evelyn's protests dismissed as affluenza episode. Bail set at $50K, pocket change for Hayes. But as I sat on the bench, manicured nails picking at denim, the bleed intensified. Flashes, Mom's wedding to Dad, white gown heavy as chains. Theo's birth, her scream echoing mine in that delivery room years later. Wait, mine. The memory forked, not rejection, but fear. Another boy, she'd thought. What if he's like me? Broken. Broken. The word unlocked something. I pounded the bars. Guard. Phone. Dialed Sarah, collect. Babe. Emery. Jesus, your mom's in jail. On the news. What the hell's happening? Her voice cracked, exhaustion bleeding through. Trust me, it's unraveling them. Home soon. Lie. The swap's timer ticked, 12 hours left. Post-bail, I'd reverse it. But first, leverage from lockup. Bail hearing at dawn. Dad posted, lawyers swarming like locusts. Released into his custody, I rode in silence to the estate. Theo waited with coffee, black as his soul. Plan B, commitment. Psych eval, rubber room for Mom. Evelyn's world, country club to Cuckoo's nest. Over my dead body, I snarled. He grinned. Yours or hers? The day blurred into confrontation prep. Dad's scripted apologies, sanitized, regret over past decisions. No names, no blood. I rewrote it in my head. Full confession, Theo's mugshot projected. But the bleed worsened. Dad's affair, pre-me, the reason Mom clung to Theo like a life raft. Betrayal reciprocal. Was I dismantling innocence? Noon loomed. Fountain Square teamed. Press vans, gawkers under the Tyler Davidson fountain, water cascading like tears. Dad at the podium, suit pressed, Mom, trapped in me, flanking, eyes downcast. Theo offstage, signaling cutoffs. My cue. Step forward as Evelyn. Seize the mic, ladies and gentlemen. I'd say, my family built fortunes on lies. Tonight, we tear them down. But as we mounted the steps, a figure emerged from the crowd. Jax, gaunt in a trench coat, eyes fever bright. Abort. The machine, it's unstable. Reversing now, or neural cascade. Cascade. Permanent merge. Souls dissolving into hybrid hell. Heart seized. Call it. The speech began, Dad droning platitudes. Mom, me, mumbled agreements. Theo's nod, go time. I pushed forward, hand on the podium. The truth is, pain exploded, skull splitting. The bleed surged, not memories, but truth. The crash, not Theo's fault alone. Dad, swerving to dodge a deal gone bad, rival banker tailing. Mom, in passenger, screaming. Theo, back seat, innocent. They'd framed me to cover the cover-up. I was the scapegoat for both parents' sins. Twist knife deep. My rage? Misdirected. The family fortress hid not one crime, but a dynasty of deceit. Mike live, words tumbling. My husband killed her. Richard Hayes, behind the wheel, chaos erupted. Dad's face blanched. Theo lunged, tackling me offstage. Punches landed, his on my borrowed jaw, mine glancing his ribs. Mom screamed, my voice raw. Cops swarmed again, separating, cuffing all. In the melee, Jax vanished, but his warning burned. The swap frayed, consciousness tugging back. Dark alley behind the square, sirens wailing. I activated the remote reverse, pulse firing into ether. Agony again, flesh reforming. Evelyn's body slumped, her essence snapping back. Mine, gasped awake in the precinct van, Sarah's texts unread. Where are you? The reckoning? Half done. Truth half spilled. Controversial call. Expose all, or bury the new lie. As cops dragged Dad away, bellowing innocence, I chose. Vengeance incomplete tasted like ash. But the war? Far from over. The reverse swap hit like a freight train, bones knitting, skin stretching over familiar muscle. Evelyn's essence ejecting from my core in a psychic wail. I came to in the back of the squad van, zip-tied to a bench, the metallic tang of blood on my lip from Theo's haymaker. Cops up front, oblivious. Hayes' family's imploding. Front page tomorrow. Imploding. My doing, but the twist soured it. Dad the driver, Mom complicit in the frame. I'd avenged the wrong villain, or maybe the right one twice over. Either way, the empire cracked, and I held the hammer. Sarah bailed me out at dusk, her nurse's scrubs rumpled, eyes red-rimmed. Emery Hayes, you got some explaining. We drove home in silence, Dayton's strip malls blurring past like bad dreams. In our kitchen, over lukewarm coffee, I spilled. The machine, the swap, the dinner detonation, the square-side slaughter. She listened, chin on hands, no judgment. Just Sarah, anchoring. You're an idiot, she said finally, but her kiss tasted like forgiveness. But mine. News cycled nonstop. Bank mogul charged in cold case. Dad in orange, denying vehicular. Mom, hysterical in interviews, blaming stress. Theo, the survivor, lawyered up, whispering to reporters about family mental health. The USB archive leaked piecemeal, slush funds first, then the mistress scandal, her tearful CNN spot. He promised forever. Public devoured it, Twitter ablaze. Hayes' downfall trending, memes of Dad as Gordon Gekko in cuffs. Controversial? Absolutely. Class warfare porn, the 1% eating their own. Pundits debated, justice or jealousy? Sibling sabotage? They painted me the puppet master, but no proof stuck. My hacks ghosted, the exchanger scrapped in a dumpster fire. Days bled to weeks, the fallout a slow poison. Mom called from a spa retreat. Recovery, she called it. Voice fragile. Emery, we need to talk. The truth. It's more. More? I met her at a neutral diner off 71, Formica table sticky with history. She looked small in my old flannel. Hadn't returned it. Hair unkempt, the queen dethroned. Richard confessed. In holding. The crash, he was distracted. A call from his. Other woman. Other. The affair predated the lie. A secret Mom had buried deeper than mine. I pushed the frame because I hated you for it. For being his echo. Echo. The word gutted. I'd welded his tools, aped his grip, but never his grace. You chose Theo. She nodded, tears splashing coffee. Fear. He was perfect. You. Challenged. Challenged. The betrayal's root. Not favoritism, but terror of mirrors. I walked out, check and signed, the diner's bell jangling like laughter. Theo cornered me next, at the plant, shift end, parking lot sodium lit. He leaned on my truck, suit rumpled, stubble shadowing the jaw I'd envied. Bro truce. His eyes, bloodshot, held no smirk, just a brother's plea. Dad's looking at 20. Mom's cracking. The kids, your nieces, they ask why Uncle M's the devil. Devil. The label stuck, controversial in its intimacy. You knew. I said, key fob biting palm. About the drive. The frame. He deflated. Guessed. But calling it. Would have tanked us all. Us. The fortress, inclusive now in ruin. We talked then, raw under factory hum. His Yale isolation, the crash's ghost haunting deals. I envied you, he admitted. The freedom. No pedestal. Freedom? My cage had been steel bars, his glass. The swap had shown me that. Evelyn's loneliness a twin to my exile. Resigned, I said, not asking. He nodded. Already did. Starting over. Chicago. Handshake, brief. Brothers, fractured but forged. The climax crested a month later, Dad's trial. Cincinnati courthouse. Marble halls echoing footsteps of the damned. I testified, voice steady. The plea, the pressure, the girl whose name I'd learned. Lila Ramirez. Dreams of nursing school crushed on asphalt. DA grilled. You took the fall willingly? Lies layered. For family. Jury deliberated 2 days. Verdict. Guilty, manslaughter plus fraud. Sentence. 15, eligible parole in 7. Mom sobbed in the gallery, Theo stone-faced beside. Me? Numb. Justice? Or just another swap? His cell for my silence? Outside, press swarmed. Emery Hayes, hero or heel? Microphones thrust, questions barbed. I pushed through, Sarah's hand in mine. No comment. But in the truck, alone, the debate raged internal. Had I gone too far? The swap. Dark sorcery. Stealing her skin to skin their sins. Controversial decisions. prolonging her torment, bluffing the archive, tackling Theo public. Heroic revenge or petty theft? Readers, if this tale escaped these pages, would argue till dawn. Ending? No tidy bow. Dad penned letters from McAllister, remorse ink-stained. You were always the strong one. Mom sold the estate, downsizing to a condo, volunteering at women's shelters. Irony's echo. Theo thrived low-key, consulting gigs funding his divorce. Me? Back to the line, Sarah's ring glinting under welders' masks. We hosted a redo wedding. Backyard, of course. Guests tripled. No shows forgiven in absence. But nights, the exchanger's ghost whispers. What if I rebuild it? Swap with Theo for a day? Feel his regrets? Or Sarah, to know her fears? The power tempts, dark and democratic. Anyone's skin a suit to steal. Tragic? Perhaps. Happy. In fragments, Sarah's laugh, a nephew's hug, the oak tree shading our porch. Yet the twist lingers, truth reversed. I wasn't the victim alone. We all drove that night. Parents' wheel, brothers' silence, my confession. Payback circled back, a boomerang of bones. And in the quiet, as rain patters the roof like hesitant applause, I wonder, would I do it again? Hell yes. But next time, I'd swap us all into each other's shoes, walking miles till empathy or exhaustion wins. The barbecue smoke rises anew, mingling with memory. Real wedding? Damn right. And the response? Echoes eternal.